Welcome to K. Elizabeth Toasts, a podcast celebrating people who increase our quality of life. I'm your host, K. Elizabeth, a licensed counselor, coach, and PhD who is interested in what people do to make others' lives better through the lens of the 5 social determinants of health. The World Health Organization says these 5 social determinants can impact up to 55% of our health outcomes. In this episode, our guest shares how they impact the social determinant of social and community context. Specifically, we're going to talk with a volunteer mountain bike cycling coach and mentor of girls and young women. Give a listen if you need a dopamine hit, or if you like toast, because this toasts for you.
My name is Christine England. I live in South Minneapolis. I left corporate life about 3 years ago from a professional career perspective, probably the best decision I made in my entire life. And I was there for over 22 years. After I kind of left corporate life,
Wow.
is when I started getting really interested in mountain bike instruction.
I don't know what mountain bike instruction is.
Just like many things, like you could learn how to sew, you could learn how to sing, you can learn how to play the piano. There are many organizations that offer mountain bike instruction. I mean, certainly there are many opportunities, particularly for youth to learn to ride a bike, which quite honestly is the best, right? Just having the ability to have a bike and ride a bike to and from school or to the grocery store really is, I think, what's most important. But when you move to mountain biking on trails and in nature, it's kind of like the difference between you have to be a little more thoughtful if you're going to walk around Lake Harriet versus if you're going to go hike the Superior Trail. And I only bring that up because it's quite different. And so the instruction is geared toward helping people be safe. Because when you go off the pavement into an environment that is less predictable with respect to the terrain, the surroundings, we want people to be safe. And then secondly, the skills are a little bit different. Like any activity, when you have a little instruction, sometimes that's what it takes to make it more fun.
Could you talk to me about what some of those skills are?
Typically, one of the things that the first things that we teach people with BICP is we call them the 3 essentials. We want to teach people that when you're on the mountain bike, after you have your helmet on and your bike is in good working condition, we always want people to know how to brake. We always want people to know how to place their feet on the pedals, and we want people to understand that their vision down the trail, like where they're looking, kind of like when you're driving, is really important to their safety and their fun.
Makes perfect sense. And also feels like a life lesson and not just a mountain bike lesson. To look forward, to know what's coming ahead, to be prepared.
Exactly. And, most things that you want to learn and that you need to learn take practice. There are very few of us out there that just are shown, how to do something once and then we're great at it and we can repeat it with confidence and consistency again and again. And so really trying to find ways to help people understand that the practice matters and the discipline matters, that it's not kind of like I took a class and I'm done, that taking the mountain bike class is just the start of your journey to become a safe and confident rider. And I started biking because I used to run and I got an injury and had to hang up the running shoes. And that's when I was like, hey, I mountain biked a long time ago. I'm going to try that again.
Fantastic. What is Team 612?
So 612 MTB is a youth composite team. If you think about how kids participate in middle school and high school sports with their school, they do that through the Minnesota High School Sports Association that governs policies and tournaments and so forth. Mountain biking is not a part of that within the state of Minnesota. We have our own governing organization. It's called the Minnesota Cycling Association. And that is where, for example, kids that go to schools in South Minneapolis, and then when they race, which is a choice, racing. They race under their school jersey.
Oh, neat. Oh, that's so cool.
But one thing I wanted to call out different than other many sports for youth, particularly in middle school and high school, is that with mountain biking, there are no cuts. If you show up, you ride, you practice, and you race.
So do you have involvement with Team 612?
Yeah, I am one of the head coaches. So we're quite a large team. I think we have over 200 riders registered this year. Um,
Whoa.
and that's from grades 6 through 12. And our team director is a fellow by the name of Dave Heim. And then we have coaching staff or head coaching staff for both middle school and high school. And then we also have, I believe, over 60 volunteer coaches.
What? Six
I,
zero.
yeah, so one of a difference from for mountain biking versus other sports is with mountain biking, when we're with kids outside on the trail, you can't, I mean, how do you ride with 200 kids safely? And the way we do that is we have policies around what we call coach to rider ratios, and that's for safety and also effectiveness.
That's amazing.
And they are, I mean, there are some schools I have heard that are now paying some coaches, kind of like a paid coach for the football team. But I would say that's very rare that for almost all the teams in Minnesota, the volunteers are 100% volunteer. In fact, we pay to be a volunteer because we have to pay for our league fees so that we are covered through insurance, and then also you pay for your certifications. No, I just say now there are always opportunities for scholarships for both youth and coaches. So no one we will not have financial circumstances be a barrier for any youth or any coach. Full stop.
So why do you do this?
So why do I do it? So it's fun. It's been really fun, and particularly for me with the girls. Um, this is a sport where representation is still not at parity. As a state, we've hit this season with girl registration, and we're at 21.8%, and that's the highest it's ever been in over 13 years. Trying to find ways to create community, particularly with the girls, has been really important to me. And so trying to create opportunities for girls to ride together at the level that they want, um, for them to have female coach role models has been what the league and a lot of the coaches around the state, we've been trying to figure out how to make that more accessible.
How do you do that? How do you manage that?
Um, well, I'd say that again, I feel like everything that I've done with our team 612, I'm kind of standing on the shoulders of giants, and some of those giants that I think have paved the way for what I'll call best practices and approaches for working with girls in cycling between like Julie Gouye and Kathy McDonald and Martha Flynn, who is the regional director of a fantastic organization called Little Bellas. If you that organization they don't focus on racing, they focus on mentorship that happens with girls on the bike. And so I'm super excited. It's my first year that I'm able to be a mentor with that organization. But those are women that have really said, this is the best way, a proven way to working with girls on the bike. They say that girls need that safe space, particularly where they're starting out. Other sports already have that safe space for practice and camaraderie. If you have a girl that starts soccer, it's usually a girls' soccer team, right? So trying to figure out how to create that girls team within a team is really a core strategy that we have. You need to create opportunities that are for the girls that are certainly about riding, but are also very social. They need time to come together, to chat. And not that boys don't need this, because I'm a firm believer that whatever you do for the girls will probably work for the boys too. We try to have, I would say, events that are outside of riding, that create community, trying to find ways to bring them together as a community, whether that's, before the practice, for a spaghetti dinner, for, meeting up for ice cream afterwards or something, it matters. It matters to create those connections.
Are there any specific moments you can think of where you thought, yeah, this is working, like this is why I'm doing this?
I will say that as I am, I guess mentor is the right word, to our captains. And we recently had a trip. It was a team trip. And I was really kind of concerned because of the breadth of ages, meaning like we had new freshmen attending, we had seniors, we had like riders that are kind of at the top of their division, and we have riders that don't really know how they ride, and what you always hope is that some of the words that you're saying with respect to how you treat other people show up in the girls' lives. And by that I mean, some of the things that we think is really important with the girls is, we need to welcome everyone, particularly those that are new to the high school team. We need to welcome all levels of riders. We need to make them feel like they're a part of the group. Yeah, over 40 or 45% of girls drop out of sports because of body confidence.
Wow.
And I would extend that, to how you feel about yourself, which is how the community supports you or doesn't support you. And that could be how you look, what you wear, how good you are at your sport. And so that's why it's really important to me. I was like, really like, oh my gosh, we got, I don't know all these girls. How's this going to work? I had said, girl captains, can you take all the girls over there? And just so we can separate. And I was doing something else. I was talking to another coach, and I turned around and the captains had created a circle with all the girls facing in, and they're already doing introduction. I mean, that's a small thing, but it's important, right?
Yeah, it's really important.
So that was to me, it's like, okay, well, something is working, right? And then one of the kind of leadership and character qualities I'd like to reinforce more is being responsible for your team. And what does that look like when you're on the trail? What it looks like is, if you're riding and there's someone behind you and you take a left turn, you need to make sure they made that left turn, because they don't know where to go, right? It may not be obvious. Well, that didn't happen. Someone didn't wait. One of the girls basically got separated for a little bit. What I was really proud of is the other riders, kind of when they all grouped together, they said, that's not cool. You left that rider, and she stood at this intersection for 20 minutes.
Mm.
And they're young, right? Adults do this all the time. What I appreciated was the recognition that that's our teammate, and she was left. And I think that the eyes got really big, like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize it. And you don't, did the girl get hurt or anything? No. But it's just, it's your teammate, right? And so that's not a good thing. So what I appreciate about it is the peer-to-peer intervention, and we're all having fun and we all get caught up, but she's on your team.
Can I go back? Did you say that this is your first year to be a mentor for Little Bellas?
It is. Yes.
What do you do as a mentor?
First of all, Little Bellas has many programs. The one I'm doing is more of a camp, and it in relationship with the Sauna Foundation in St. Paul. It is a camp for girls that come from a community in St. Paul that perhaps otherwise would not be exposed to biking. And so there's an arrangement with the organization to like help bring the girls to the camp in St. Paul in Battle Creek. And really, it's if we think about like what is our role as a mentor, it's around building up these girls in their confidence on the bike, but also as they move forward in life. So it's really giving them opportunity to learn something different, learn something about themselves as they learn, get outdoors, and help them understand that, you can do hard things.
I love it. Is there anything else that you wanted to share about your experience coaching girls?
We need more. We need more women adults. And what I would say to kind of the audience out there is, yes, you can. Sometimes it's a little intimidating entering a male-dominated sport. But what I would say is there are many opportunities for female coaches to give back and different ways. And not all of them have to be the fastest, most skilled rider. You don't have to be a bike mechanic. Showing up is pretty much 80% of what makes a difference in my mind. And that commitment to caring about the kids that you're working with. And so I would say, yes, you can.
Is there anyone in your life who has increased the quality of your life that you'd like to recognize?
Who has increased the quality of my life? That's a really big question.
Oh, I can make it smaller. Who's made your life better?
Who has made my life better? Well, I always give the nod back, like I mentioned earlier, to my parents who I feel like, set the foundation. I would say kind of my husband for supporting me, because usually his question is like, are you here tonight? Because and then I'll just go back to the women that have inspired me in the state, Julie and Martha and Kathy and Kate and Margaret. I mean, there are a lot of people that are putting a lot of effort to work to move the dial and to make places more accessible to girls and women.
Christine, for being a female coach in a male-dominated sport, for supporting young women in cycling, for mentoring young ladies in Little Bellas, for building community, for teaching others how to build community and how to welcome people in, and for creating safe spaces for young women to be able to get started and see if it's a good fit for them. Cheers to you.
Thank you.
Now it's your turn. Honor someone who has made your life better by recording a toast to them at ketoasts.com. To positively impact my life and to keep us going, tap the follow button, rate us using the star button, and share this episode with someone who could use some good news. Then, go toast up some bread. Every positive action is worth toasting. This is amazing. I had no idea this was a thing.
I feel like it's kind of like that. When you're in it, you see it everywhere, but if you're not in it, you don't notice as much. When you get to a portion on the trail, your body knows what to do. You're not going through the motion. Oh, geez, are my fingers on my brakes?